Hello and welcome. Today I'm very pleased to say that I'm joined by two experts and friends from the legal profession, David Posadas and Kirti Mirpuri. Let's say you're advising a client on a property transaction. It's the first time they've ever done it. What checks do you do? What are the steps to ensure you're doing your job properly?
It could take us probably an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to talk about all the different due diligence, all the different type of transactions that we can be involved, whether it's a new property, whether it's a resale, but really try to summarize in general the general scope of our job. The most important is obviously the due diligence. Those due diligence can be carried on or have to be carried on at different levels, not just only in the land registry, but then as well in the town hall, as well on the town hall because of the potential planning issues, as well on the community of owners. Some people may not know what a community of owners is, but it's a body to regulate communal areas in developments or in complex, where it's a very well-regulated area in Spain. Whether it's a new property, whether it's our client is buying a property off plan, then a completely whole different set of due diligence will spring. Okay, in the purchase of a new property, just to give you a tiny example, the purchase of a new property, the buyer is not just a buyer; it's a consumer. So a completely different perspective on the transaction will operate. A different as well legislation with different pitfalls and different flaws and different advices. That's one thing, but probably the most important advice that we could give to always potential clients, is to contact lawyers even before they are planning to travel to Spain.
Why?
It's just about knowledge. They don't need to become expert. I don't want people to be worried, because some clients, they know us for a long time and say, David, I'm in your hands. I don't have time to get involved. I don't want to learn anything. But that depends on nature of people. Some people really want to be knowledgeable. And I always say, well, the more knowledge that you have, the more you will avoid any problem to get involved. So the majority of lawyers, if you contact a lawyer, if you're a potential client and contact a lawyer, the lawyer is going to give you information. It's going to provide you with very valuable stuff that you may use it maybe in the same year or maybe in 1 year time. So you start learning. It's a learning process. I'm surprised when people decided suddenly to move to Spain in 1 week and they make an investment. I would never think of that, moving to another country and in 1 week buy a property.
I think it's a really important point that you make there, because we're in advice, we give advice, and ultimately our jobs, your job, our job is to sell Spain, convince people that Spain is a good place to invest, and we're quite open to speak to clients very early on in their decision-making process to give them the information to feel comfortable that they're in safe hands, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And not only that is as well, because now you mentioned that part of our chat with potential clients that are just considering, is to start kind of pre-qualifying them what type of clients they're going to be, because for us, the earlier we can anticipate things, the better. For instance, if someone is not the same someone that is buying a residential holiday home, or is an investor, or is an investment, or is going to do it through a company, where is the domicile of that company? Where the funds are going to be transferred? Very often, we advise to contact you guys, because I always say that if they can, from the financial point of view, being pre-qualified, and they know when they are traveling to Spain, that obviously it depends then on the valuation of the property. But if they already know that based on their income and liabilities, they could borrow up to X amount of money, it's such a peace of mind, because once you find a property and you know more or less the interest in Spain are low compared to other countries.
Yeah.
Okay, so to borrow money in Spain is still interesting.
Very interesting.
So if you have already that check already done, and then you come to Spain already with your homework done, everything is less stressful.
Does it ever happen, David, Kirti, where a client tells you initially that they're going to be a cash buyer, and then when they find a property, they say, actually, I need a mortgage. Does that happen a lot?
It happens quite often.
I know.
Very often.
But that's part of the planning process. How does that kind of sort of changes the dynamic of
And
it,
for me as well, when clients deciding to purchase a property and to borrow money, perhaps some lawyers look at the transaction as oh no, it's more cumbersome. It's going to be more. I disagree, because having a bank involved, obviously we have to do our. It's not that we are going to relax. That's not the expression. We do our due diligence with the same standard, but you have as well an allied. The evaluation is going to be done, and the evaluation is done in Spain by an architect or a technical architect. Is a valuer that obviously is going to check the property. Sometimes this is kind of a big difference between other countries, other regions. We don't use surveyors. The surveyor as a profession, it doesn't exist.
No.
It's a valuer. Okay. Sometimes we send a surveyor to a specific property based on the information that the client gives us at the very beginning. For instance, it's an old property. It's an old property that has been built near an area where there has been a big infrastructure. So if there are reasons for you to believe that the structure may be affected, then you send the technical staff to do a proper report, on even a geological report if it's needed.
Yeah.
That's very rare. So having a valuer to proceed with evaluation, for me, is always an advantage. It's more cumbersome, it's more tedious in the way of now counting with the bank to get involved. But I think in the end, for the client, I think it's like another safety net.
Of course. I mean, I think for any potential property investor in Spain, I think as your business and our business, we're available to speak to clients very early on, so that they come and there are no surprises. So they don't come to you and say, oh, by the way, now I need a mortgage. And you've already signed a reservation agreement with set dates, because obviously when a mortgage becomes, then that's an extra layer of complexity, you know. And I think it's great that we're here and others, obviously, we're not the only companies that do this, but we're here to embrace foreigners, foreign investors, to give them the help that they need, so they can buy in a timely but in a safe manner. Is that? Yeah. And it's good to hear that you make yourselves available to have those initial discussions. Do you charge for that?
No. That is a free consultation. It is, and it's quite amazing, because it's a lot of time, many hours that we invest on. Obviously, those is the way of I use the expression of planting seeds. Is the way to have the possibility of being getting to know potential clients, and you can imagine how many clients keep your email, keep your contact details, and after 1 year, 2 years, they contact you. Do you remember? Yeah. Well, and we have all the that's what we do. That is the majority of lawyers. I will say probably the big majority, they don't charge for that if first consultation. And the first consultation is not even like a half an hour. It requires more time.
Of course. There's a lot of maybe research that needs to go back. And
sometimes as well we send estimations.
Yeah.
Because when we are during our discussion, we just start understanding what is the budget. So we send them an estimation, because they have the picture of a price, but they don't understand what is besides the price, what is the amount of money that they will need to allocate to purchase a property. Exactly. We always give that figure of 10% on top of the purchase price. By the way, this is for Andalusia, because then we need to depends on the regions in Spain, the taxation may be different. Okay, more or less it's the same everywhere, but anyway, but we in Andalusia we say for a resale 10% on top of the purchase price, that covers everything. And then for the purchase of a new property is different, because then VAT and stamp duty will make the price.
With VAT then, isn't it?
10%.
IVA.
Yeah, IVA. And the VAT and stamp duty in total make that thumb of rule, it will make it on to probably 13%.
12-13%. Yeah.
Always, when it's resale, we always advise clients to add on a little bit extra just to cover mortgage expenses and valuations and stuff. We always say 12% and 15% on new builds. But you guys will be there at the end with a full breakdown of all purchase costs and mortgage costs, so the client knows exactly and transparently what they've done. But the guidance that I think you offer and we offer is, I think it's great, and I think it's very useful and valuable to anyone potentially looking to invest into our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. It was a
Absolute
pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank you, Mark.
Gracias, David.
Nada.
See you soon.